Okay, so we're at that point now where we're going to clean up. And here you can see that I've got 2 containers of the goulash. And here you can see where I was cooking with the cast iron pot. And I'm using this Barkeeper's Friend cooktop cleaner. And I'm going to let that settle. I've kind of rubbed it around. I'm just going to let it settle and dry up. So, while that's going, I'm going to take the lid that works so well and my cast iron pot. As you can see here, the cast iron pot is full of residue. There's all kinds of things in here. And by the way, look back at me please. By the way, it's not so much that you can't use cast iron to cook acidic foods like tomatoes and things like that. You can, but you just can't let it sit in there. So while I didn't have a problem cooking with it, I do want to clean it relatively quickly. And I know a lot of you are all uptight about cast iron, but you know, I've gotten this water pretty much as hot as it'll go. My water at the house is set at 120. Most households are set at about, I don't know, 140. So with just water and my brown scrubby, I'll just personally go through this real quick, and then I'll work on it after I get everything out that I want to. Hang on just a second. This shouldn't take very long at all. Okay, you see all that water, a lot of dirt. And you want this water as hot as you can stand it, and for me, that's right about here. Ever since I had that heart problem and my little stroke issue, well, it was a major stroke, but for me it was a little issue, I've had to relinquish a lot of my hot bathing. So what I did was I turned my heater down somewhat. Oh yeah, look at that. I've turned my heater down somewhat so that I can take a lukewarm bath and still feel relatively comfortable. So like I was going to say, over here, this is the Scotch Pred I used. All I do is rinse this out, and once a week I wash that with soap and rinse it out real good. So here's the pot. You can see it's nice and clean, spick and span, good to go. I'll just wipe that down. This is not the easiest thing in the world because these are heavy pans. This cast iron is not light, but it's a good little workout. It's good for your body, obviously. Like I said, when you get a little bit older, if you're a guy, you don't want to have too much iron, so you don't want to cook with this all the time. This cast iron, but for certain things and for some things, it's nice. And once in a while, it's, you know, once or twice a week, I like to cook something in it because I get a little bit of iron from the cast iron. And look at that. And I'm going to put this back burner on too, so that'll let it heat up and hopefully dry that off. And now I'm going to wash this lid in the same way, which is really just run this around it in between all these little bunks. Make sure I get around the edge because there was a lot of juice leaking out of here. Nice, huh? And I know it seems like a hassle. You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to. But you know what, folks, in life, there's a whole lot of haves to. And this is not a have to. You don't have to do this. You can buy crappy stuff from the dollar store. You can buy really nice, expensive stuff that's not good for you from kitchen warehouses. You can buy aluminum, you can buy granite, you can do anything you want to make your life easier. But without a little work, without a little diligence, your life is nothing. Oh, you may think you have it good, you may think everything's gravy, but the fact of the matter is, when push comes to shove, if you haven't earned it, you don't deserve it. And these bad boys are well earned. Well earned and well cleaned. And that is the truth. So as far as cast iron goes, don't believe all the hype you hear. Fact of the matter is, it's going to be just fine. Oops, I got to clean that. But let's go back to this and we'll see if we can get this up. It looks like this is going to come right up. That's for me trying aluminum foil to see if I could make popcorn without hitting the burner. And apparently the burner was so hot it melted the foil onto the lid and onto the glass. And so it hasn't come off, and well, as best as I could do, that's not coming off. So this is coming off nice. You can see there's quite a bit of shit on here, like all kinds of crap from pot boiling over it. I mean, it really boiled over big time. And just like that, in relatively a few minutes, I don't know too many people. I mean, I know a lot of people, but I don't know too many people that can make a really nice meal from the 19th century or from any century that quickly, that easily, and clean it up that nicely. Let's face it, cast iron is a nice thing. Not for everybody, but it's a very nice thing. I got my burner on 3 to get that nice and warm, heat it up, and get some of that steam out of there. Let's make sure we turn this pot over, because I don't want any of the moisture going back in there if I can help it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this journey with me from beginning to end. And as always, namaste. Peace out.
Go.
Okay, so now I've let the pan cool after I dried it, and then I put it on the heat so they would steam off. And if you feel it, it's pretty freaking hot. So I'm gonna turn it off. I got the lid upside down, it's nice and dry. This bad boy is pretty freaking hot. I may need to let it cool off a little bit. It's pretty hot for being on a burner, not too bad. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna oil it. Now, it doesn't seem to me that people worry too much about stuff like this. They either like it or they don't like it, and most people that don't like it don't understand it. The cast iron itself is a wonderful product, but like all good things in life, including relationships, it has to be maintained. And one way to do that with this nice little thing I call my Misto, which is just wonderful, and I keep avocado oil in here, and we only need about that much, but you just need a very light coat of oil. See, the thing about cast iron is you don't want this to have so much oil on it that you can see it oil, or that it pools up, okay? So the trick there is to just put it on very lightly and then wipe it off if you have to. And I don't see that as being an issue here. It looks like I got this pretty good. We'll give this another shot. A little Misto. Oh, that's not too hot. And you can see that cooled up a little bit there, but we're going to spread this out. And when this is all done, you won't see it.
The napkin will absorb quite a bit of it and help spread it around. And this isn't doing anything other than helping to preserve it. You know, helping to preserve some of that seasoning that you did. And yeah, so there we go. That's not a problem. 2 little shots from my misto. It's not a bad idea to do this every time, but it's not essential that you do it every time. The inside is, obviously. But if you're going to do it, the few extra seconds really is no big deal. And if you're a dishwasher person or that kind of person, you know, that lives your life in the 21st century, whatever that means, then this probably is not going to be for you. Let me tell you, that's still a little warm. I don't know if you can see it happening here. It is covering it. It's like there, it's not, then you see it shines up a bit. And that's just a real thin coat of oil that's happening right there. And I know this has a good amount of oil in it, so I'm just going to spread it around. And since this is already kind of warm, it's just going to absorb it. You see, another thing about cast iron, and the reason you're doing this, is that cast iron is relatively porous. So if you think of cast iron as like a sponge, a very, very dry sponge will be small, thick, and condensed, and you add a little water to it, and it'll absorb and turn into a sponge, right? Well, cast iron is similar, only it's metal. So when it's very cool, it'll be like this, and when it warms up, it'll spread a little bit. Now, it's not going to be this much, obviously. It's going to be in the nanometers, but it's going to spread enough that it'll absorb. So when you're seasoning it, what you're doing is you're getting it hot so that it expands, you're putting in oil and letting it cool, so the oil forms inside these pockets, and as it cools, it solidifies. And once it solidifies, it becomes a polymer, and it's fusing itself to the metal and creating a barrier. So then you do that a few more times, and you fill up those pockets, and then the last few times you can just wipe it with oil, like I just did. And so there is a bit of a learning curve to it, I'm not going to lie, and there is a bit of a knowledge to it, I'm not going to lie, but there's a great amount of benefit to it. And again, I'm not going to lie. But there you go. It's all done. It's ready to go. And I am done. So, peace out. Have a good one.